Good morning,
Hey
everybody.
guys.
We are online with a little bit of trouble. Hopefully, you are on with us. I see 10 people on, so they have found YouTube. That's a good sign.
We had some problems with Facebook this morning, so
8 count,
we're
alt sync.
we're
So,
just hopping over here onto YouTube and coming at you live
so,
from our dining
yep.
room.
Hopefully, you can see us. Let us know if it's working. I got a
Yes,
thumbs up from somebody.
good.
We see a couple people on that said hi. Jordan, good morning. We see
Good
you on
morning.
here, and David Wild Oaks on here, and TJ and Ethan and Eric are on the top of a mountain. That's what they say.
Lucky.
So,
Wait, Church Mountain?
church, mountain, having church.
That's kind of accurate
Kind of be
though.
honest, that's
I
the
mean,
real,
that's pretty
that's for
good.
me, that's real church. Awesome. Well, say hi if you're on. If you're on YouTube and you've never been on YouTube before, do us a favor. Click on that button, subscribe.
Like it, subscribe. It'll make
It'd be kind of
Eric's
fun.
day.
It'll
Eric
make
does our
Eric,
media for us, and
it would make his day.
it would make his day. He tries really hard. He works very hard,
Yes, he
making
does.
all the videos look nice, editing things, and telling us to slow down and pause between sentences.
For me not to speak so fast. Another thumbs up. I'm guessing that was
I did
Eric.
that too. Yeah.
Hey, 14 people on. You guys have found YouTube. Good
Good
job.
job. We know
Good
you can
job.
do
That's
it.
14 families, 14 households. So that's a big deal.
And I'll pop over in a minute. I just have our announcements in front of me, but I'll pop over if you have guys have comments that you want to comment along the way. Questions. We love for you guys to be interactive. If we're saying something and it's not quite registering for you, we want to know what you think about it and just comment and we can get back to you. It's usually slightly delayed, but we really love this time to be interactive. We're talking to you guys. So,
Yeah. Awesome. Julie's on there. So Julie and Gabran, good morning. Hi.
Julie and Brian.
Yeah, sorry. Julie and Brian
Damira's
Gabran.
there. Maybe she's taking,
Maybe
maybe
Darren.
she's sleeping. That girl, she works so
Yep.
hard.
Yep.
All right, so we have
Okay,
some
we have some announcements.
announcements.
Lots of
Yes,
announcements.
we
These
have so
announcements
many.
are for you to put on your calendar. So pull out your calendars. We're going to give you all the announcements for the summer so that you probably have already planned, but just in case you want to join us in some
We'll take our
special
time going through them.
things. So,
So July 13th, we have the Pride Parade outreach with Will Morton. And this is part of Bellingham's historical, like we do this every year. This is something that comes, we have the Pride Parade and it's just a
it's a
chance for
pretty big
us
event.
to love people and to really go and express God. And not in the way that we've seen people holding up the signs that are just
Then you're
like
going to
you're
hell and all that stuff.
judging and things like that. We're there to love people and just go down there and give out
And
hugs and
hopefully heal
pray for
people.
people, heal people. And I think that's the biggest thing we can do is just show love and
Yep. And Will
yeah.
Morton's going to be leading that up. He's going to be handing out water bottles. So if you want to join him handing out water bottles and giving people hugs and possibly praying for their healings, that's what they're going to do. So if you want to join them, that's July 13th.
Yeah,
And
it's
reach out
going
to
to be
Will.
super good.
So there'll be more information, but mark your calendars if you want to do that. That's the nearest thing.
And then July, no men's group this month. So, I
Sorry,
mean,
guys, we lost our venue. The house is being sold, and I have something planned again this next one. So I'm just like, with no place to go and me not here, we decided to cancel again. So if you guys want to hang out, go for it.
you guys can still hang
You
out.
guys
You
can
don't have to have a
absolutely still
group
do that.
to
I can
do.
talk to TJ. Maybe TJ wants to do something.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll do a
maybe.
hike or something.
You
That'd
guys
be
can go out for
nice.
dinner, do something different,
Yeah.
So August 31st is church at the park at Squalicum Park. That's not too far from our church building itself. And we don't have a time frame for
So
that.
instead of church at home,
10?
it's going to be church. Instead of church at home, it'll be at the park. So
Okay,
10
so
o'clock.
10 o'clock. Yeah.
And then we're going to do like a lunch. It'll be an invite, bring some food, and we'll have lunch after we do
We'll
our
probably make all the
service.
basics there, I'm guessing, and then everybody just brings things to
Yep.
have, and we'll have like a little shelter. So in case it rains, because we know
Yep.
Washington
We do have the shelter and a
Park
barbecue pit.
planned ahead. It's just sometimes you get it rained out, things happen. So it's still
Who
gonna be
knows?
really
Maybe
fun.
I'll smoke some brisket this time.
We'll see. That does take 24 hours. He comes in with bags under his eyes because he hasn't slept for a couple days. The last time he
Maybe
did
get a
that,
couple people to smoke briskets. That'd be nice.
yeah, that would be cool. If you have the skill of smoking briskets.
I have one smoker.
Oh, the next one. You want to do this one?
Which
September
one?
6th. Hear your identity.
September 6th is the next one after that. So August 31st, then that following Saturday, is going to be hearing your identity. So if you haven't done that, please come. If you've done it already, you're welcome to come to this one for sure. Uh, we're going to do another one after that. So, but if you know someone who's struggling with knowing why am I here, what's my purpose, hopefully by then I have a book in hand. I hope that's the plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, invite
No
them.
pressure.
No, hear your identity. It's a whole day event. People have been massively transformed. A lot of people in our churches have already done it, so we're going to need people outside of our church to do it. So spread the word for us. That is September 6th. That'll be an all-day event. So
Okay, and this is something I'm so excited about.
this one
Okay,
you should definitely
I'm
announce.
going to announce this one because
Okay.
I want to. September 21st, we're doing the Bellingham Bay Marathon Outreach. And this is going to be a Sunday. We're going to be shutting down church
To go
and
run.
well, listen, okay, so it's not just to do a run. If you want to come and volunteer at aid stations, we could make we just want to know what you guys want to do for the involvement of this. So if you
Yes.
want to come and just hand out waters, do you want to be at aid stations to help people, passing finish lines, things like that? There's so many things you can volunteer for this if you want to run it. There's a 5K, you can walk a 5K, you can be a stroller mom, you can be a power walker, you can do anything in that.
Or half marathon.
There's 10K,
Oh,
there's half
10K.
marathon, there's a marathon relay, and
Oh.
there's a full marathon. And if you want to walk a marathon, you can start at 6:30 in the morning, and that is also an option.
Serious? They're
Yeah,
doing
you
that?
can walk
Wow.
the
So
marathon
everybody's
at
starting at different times?
there's different time frames, but one finish line for everybody. So if you want to do that, I'm going to post the link below. We have a group. We're going to have matching T-shirts, matching swags. If you're part of like the running group or the active part that you want to do, we're going to get some singlets and things made if you're racing or walking or whatever it
What
might
the heck's
be.
a singlet?
It's like a racing top. It's like a
Okay.
breathable
Okay.
tank top or t-shirt so you
I
don't,
won't be wearing one of
if you wear
those.
cotton, you'll just like have to wring it out because
Yeah.
it just holds all the water and you'll be like 100 pounds heavier from the weight. But I'm going to post that in the comments. If you're interested, you can sign up for any of the races. I'll be doing the full marathon.
We're not signing up for you. You have to sign up for the races
You,
directly with them. That's
yes,
what you're
but
saying.
we have a group. This will link you to the group itself that we've created, ALife Family, and just so we can do this together. So if
Yep.
you're interested in any of that, we'll get more clarity as we go get closer to it.
So on the spiritual side of it, Julie Grant mentioned a while ago that in an intercessor meeting that it was kind of cool that Danny's going around spreading joy as she runs across the city. Like, you remember this?
Yeah, I do
And
remember
like,
that. I
I
saw
think
that.
that's pretty significant. So we, ever since then, we've been going, well, how do we do that as a church? If Danny's doing that, how do we do that together?
Yes.
So I don't know if I'm going to be going on a run, but I might go and cheer people on. But I definitely want to spread joy across our city.
Yes.
So we are going to, instead of having church at home that month, it's the third Sunday of the month, so it's not the last. We're going to shut down the church and go out and join the community and help support this race. If you don't want to come, that's fine. You can just be praying for us and pray, and that joy is spread across the city. Or you go for a walk with your spouse or with someone you know, and just go spread joy across the city. And then that following Sunday, September, whatever that last Sunday,
28th.
that'll be church in person.
Yeah.
So we won't have a church at home that month. We'll just do church in
We're going to
person.
swap the days.
Yep, we're
But we
swapping.
highly encourage you to come to this, just like how we've done ski to see.
Danny would highly encourage you to sign up.
It's so nice to
Lots
see
of people are
faces
signing
that
up.
are smiling and happy. I know Amy's running the full marathon. Eric is running a 5K at
I
least.
think Evelyn's running.
Evelyn's running it. TJ is running it.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people signing up. If you've never ran before, you have plenty of time to practice. You can come on some jogs with me. I'll be happy to.
It's September 21st. That's
Yeah.
why we're telling you
We're
now.
giving you a heads up so you have some time to
So that's on the
get your
calendar.
running shoes
So then
on.
September 28th, we're doing church in person, which is normally a church at home. So we'll be in person. And then we have another one. Joanna says she's going to be a stroller mom.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
I love the stroller
We'll
moms. They're the
Eleanor
best.
run the race with Danny. Maybe she can do the whole
But
marathon.
they could wear her out a little bit. Is it
Maybe.
possible? I don't know. Get
Okay.
Eleanor together.
So that's September 21st. Then you got September 28th, church in person. And then you have November
And no,
8th.
October 24th
Oh,
is the
sorry.
kids
I missed it.
carnival.
I missed that
So
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
go for it.
combine our learning center and our church together, and we have a kids
Both churches.
carnival
Grace Church is
and
doing a
Grace
lot of it.
Church. It's a huge event. So if you have kids, if you want to come volunteer for that, if you just love being around lots of kids, it's very noisy,
It's a
very
great alternative to Halloween if you don't celebrate Halloween. It's a kids carnival. It's the
and
same
tons of the
time a month.
community comes in. Our
Yep.
preschool families come in.
Our
There's
neighbors do.
hundreds and hundreds of kids that come in through this, and it's just fun.
Yep. So that's a big event.
It's so
I
fun.
think we've had like 800 people come through there. So it's going to be bigger this year. It's
Yeah.
a blow up house, lots of stuff that's going to be outside. So
Yes.
okay, then the last one is
Last
November
one.
8th.
Sorry, guys.
So November 8th. So these are all on your calendars. Put them on your calendar. That's the point we're doing this. So November 8th Brian Falls, good morning. We're just doing announcements. He
The
found it.
never-ending
Yeah.
announcements, like 10
You'll
minutes.
want to watch these back to mark your calendars for the year. So November 8th is going to be Identity Applied. So the first one is in September, Hearing Your Identity. And November 8th will be Identity Applied. No one who has not heard their identity can come. So if you want to come to that one, you need to come to the first one. We're going to make it so that we're going to work with people who have heard their identity and are walking that out or struggling to walk that out. We're going to get into the trenches of how that goes and help people walk it out, like
Yes,
in person. Like it'll be,
it's
you'll see
so
it happen.
good.
So that'll be a big event. I think that'll be good for us as a church. It'll be great for people who have done their identity and want to come join us. So
Yes, I will post all these dates in the comments along with the Bellingham Bay Marathon. Sign up for the ALife family team if you're interested in joining that or thinking about it. Just pray about it.
yeah, you can post all those
Yeah, I'll post
dates.
all
Yeah.
these things and so you can look in the comments and save it.
And then you
Copy
can
and
save it to
paste.
your calendar.
I'll
So
do that right
lots of
now.
fun things. Park day, lots of different things coming up. So that is our announcements. So while you're
Awesome.
doing that, I'm gonna do.
Excited.
I'll do the offering part. How about that?
Oh yeah, let's do
So
that.
let's do the offering. So
Don't mind me here.
yeah, if you are on with us, why is this not working? Once again, we're having some problems. I've been having so many problems this morning with stuff. So hang in there with me. Anyways, here we go. Offering time. All right. So our number has changed. If you want to text to give, our app is the same. So you can go to the church app and give. You can set up automatic stuff, but our text has changed. They changed the laws. You cannot have a 5-digit number. You have to text to this number now. So if you are giving towards us, we've got a lot of cool things we've been doing, which we'll talk about in a minute. But if you want to text to give, you just have to type the number in your text thing. You say 1-855-668-1648, and then you type the word give in the comments and then the amount you want to give. And that'll just go right to it directly. So that's the easiest way. You can give online. You can follow the links online as well. Or you can just bring it in person next week when we see you. Either way, it's great. We really appreciate your support. We've been doing some amazing things. We were able to give another huge check to James Place. All of our first fruits came in. I can't remember how much it was now.
It was 20 some
25,000
thousand.
maybe came in total, and all of that went to James Place. They are thrilled. So they have got
It's
the
so
new roof on
amazing.
already, and they're stayed open. Now they're looking for a new place. I am looking and talking to some pastor friends to try to get them into a new place that will benefit maybe a church as well. So,
Yeah, James
anyways,
Place is a preschool, another preschool
preschool
in town.
downtown.
And it's just a slightly smaller version. And it's great for certain kids that just need a
A
smaller
lot more
space, a
closer
lot more
connection.
hands-on
Yeah.
connection.
And they're downtown, right in the middle of
They're
where they're
right in
needed.
the heart of Bellingham.
Yeah.
So we love that.
So, and the lady that runs it does not take a dime from the place. She pays for her own stuff through counseling. She does counseling and she gets paid that way. She's amazing. I don't know how she keeps doing that, but dude, they
Yes.
were almost going to close and we felt God to give to them. So amazing, amazing. We gave to them. We have another thing that came up that I want to talk to you guys about. I don't know if you've noticed, but there was a car outside the church, a white Jeep that had a family living in it. And that was because of us. So actually, Eric helped. This family came and asked for help. They were going to lose their car, and they have a 4-year-old boy. And we didn't want them to lose their car and their
Yeah.
shelter. So we ended up letting them park at our building while they were needing to get their car fixed. Well, tons of things happened. It was coming against it, and it was taking long. And the neighbors joined together. We have an awesome neighborhood, Peabody neighborhood. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They came together and raised talked to them, put them to work. So Mike, the guy that's the husband, the dad, has been working, and the neighbors are literally arguing over who gets him next because he's doing such a good job.
That's
So
the
like I get him
best.
next to my house, I got tons of projects. So he's been working there for 3 weeks, 2 weeks now, working on each neighbor that has hired him. They rallied together and raised over $2,000. The Peabody
It's so
neighborhood,
amazing.
and so I organized where I made it so they could give it to the church so they can get even a tax deduction that helps them. And then I organized getting their car fixed. We had their car towed to the dealership, or not dealership, but a mechanic that we trust. And they fixed it and they gave us a $180 discount.
Yep.
We brought them to a hotel while their car was getting worked on. We got their tires replaced, and the neighbor guy brought the tires in and I helped them put them back on. Eric helped him put a fuel pump inside the car. Like so many people helped. It's been amazing. He's still working. They have now so all that money made it so we can pay for all that stuff. They now are living at Larrabee Park for a month. They got to pay $10 so they can have access to showers and we are connecting them to housing. There's like a whole bunch. Like there's a lady that came to our preschool that said, "Hey, I help people get in housing and I help them get jobs. I do this in Skagit and we're branching out to Whatcom County. Why don't you give me?" So I gave her his information yesterday. They've been on a waiting list with Opportunity Council. So it's just been amazing. The whole thing, the way it's worked out, has been absolutely God. Every time I see Mike, I say, "Hey, man, God is clearly trying to tell you something." He goes, "I know he is. I know he is." I can just see his countenance change. It's just amazing. So they pray if you. It's Alicia. I'm not sure exactly how you say her name. It's Mike and Alicia, and they have a son who's 4 years old, and he's Mike as well. He's Mike Jr. So,
Hmm.
and he's a special needs child, so he needs a lot of care. We couldn't take him in the preschool because we don't have enough staff for his support,
Yep.
but they're hooking him up with a place to go to get ready for school.
Which
So,
is so awesome. I love
so
that.
pretty cool. But you guys, we have amazing neighbors. The Peabody neighborhood, 10 of them came that we met together. They went around door to door raising money. They raised over $2,000 and they hired these people and helped in so many ways. So we're probably going to throw a block party for our neighborhood
I
just
think
to
we
say
need to.
thank
We
you. And
definitely need
so,
to.
anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about. Now we're going to jump into what we're going to talk about, which actually matches 100%.
It totally does.
Yep. So we are talking to you today about inviting Jesus. So, what do we mean by inviting
Yeah,
Jesus?
what does that even mean? Inviting Jesus.
Inviting Jesus in everything we do. That's kind of what we're talking about. This thing with the neighbors, we I it's always what do you help? Who do you help? Who do you not help? Like we're always helping people, but
Especially lately, we've
um,
had so many people calling and
a lot
coming,
of people
and
calling and
it's
asking.
quite overwhelming with the
Yeah,
number
we're
of.
not set up to. We don't have a food pantry or we don't have things set up to do things. So
But we do have so many resources in our community. We're actually really lucky that we have the Lighthouse Mission and we have so many other Lydia's Place and places that help kids and families together. So we're actually very lucky that Bellingham has so many options.
yeah, we're very lucky. Good
So we
morning,
can invite
Chris.
them.
I see you on there, and Angela. You guys are all on there. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, guys. Sorry that it didn't work on Facebook. YouTube's a better place, anyways. I can still see your comments. I don't. I think you can see each other's comments. But yeah. And then we already said it, but just in case you're on there and you didn't hear us, why don't you click on that button and subscribe to YouTube? It'll make Eric very
Yes,
happy.
that'll make Eric's day.
um, yeah, so we've been asking God when people come and ask us for help, like what do we do? One of the guiding things that God told us was that we are a resource to resources. A Life is not the resource; they are a resource to resources. So a good example, giving to James Place. James Place is a resource to downtown families for kids, just like we are, but they're a resource and they were needing resources. So we did our first fruits towards them. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And more money came in that way than we've ever had, I think, at First Fruits.
Right.
Yeah.
And the principle is so cool because it's like most people would look at that like James Place is your competitor. Why would you go and if they're going
Oh,
to
we
shut
had
down,
those thoughts.
if
We were
they're
like,
going
oh,
to
we might get their kids because
yeah,
we're
if they're
hurting.
going to shut down, we'll have 50 more kids instantly. That will solve all of our financial problems. But instead asking God, and I
What do
think
you
it was
do?
honestly
It was Eric
it was Eric that was
again.
like, "Hey, I
He
think we're
keeps
supposed to
hearing
give,"
God on
because we
this stuff.
always ask what we're supposed to do with the first fruits every year, and like what comes to your mind with what's God saying about this money and what are we supposed to give to? And Eric's like, "Oh, I think we're supposed to do James Place," and we're like, "Oh
Oh,
no!"
it's true. We knew it was true right away. As soon as he said it, I knew it was God.
Yeah,
So we asked Jesus to, we invited Jesus into our, of course we would invite Jesus, but we don't, like, it's so weird. It's not a generic inviting Jesus once, it's an inviting Jesus continuously in everything you do.
yeah, it is.
So even God told us, even though Jesus told us we're a resource to resources, we have to invite him into each situation to see how he means,
Yeah.
to see what he's doing with that individual
Because
person.
that could have looked like a benefit to us, like, "Oh, God's answering our prayers.
I
We're gonna
thought
have
it
50 more
was.
kids."
It was
Like,
about 30. They only have 30 kids. So
okay,
I thought
30.
maybe we might get 15 of them and that would solve, maybe we wouldn't be going backwards anymore as a preschool. So we
Yes.
thought that was going to solve our problem. Maybe God's giving us a blessing.
But the funny thing is we did give them this money and we're like trusting God with it. And then we instantly had like
More kids sign up.
10, 50, or 15 kids not from James Place
Yep.
sign up
Yep. And we've
at our
got another
preschool.
connection that God opened up for us, that's helping place kids in our center when they don't have anywhere to go.
Mhm.
Even if it's just for a day, we became a number one resource for this one place. and that's opened the door for us in a huge way.
Yeah, so don't like
God,
God is not little-minded. Like
yeah.
we think so small. And so when we're doing these things, we have to ask him what does he want us to do in these situations and trusting him. So it's
Yep.
challenge. We're still
So
learning.
one of the questions that we're at are like, Jesus, what are you doing? So I have been asking Jesus, this would be a good thing to do. If you are paying any attention to any news right now, it's a lot of negative news, a lot of stuff going on, riots in LA. My brother said he drove through it on accident.
Oh, really?
He was getting an alert on his phone. Alert, alert, you're past your curfew. You need to get inside. Anyways, he didn't
Wow.
know he was near it. And so there's this stuff happening. There's bombs going off in Iran and in Israel. There's just stuff happening, right? So is that what Jesus is doing? People think that's what Jesus is doing. I look, I like to look deeper. I think I'm pretty good at looking and finding what Jesus is doing. Iran has the fastest growing church in the whole world right now. And it's not just right now, not because of war. That would make sense during war that people are coming to Jesus. It's not that. For the last 20 years, Iran has been the fastest growing church for the last 20 years across the world.
And I thought it was like a recent thing,
No,
but it's been 2
it's probably
decades.
going faster right now. And it's being, I know from what I've heard from people that go there, that it's being run by a lot of women. Women are running the underground church of Iran because God is showing up in their dreams, showing up in powerful ways and healing and feeling Him, all this stuff. It's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
That's what God is doing. That's what Jesus is doing in the middle of what men are doing.
Isn't that cool?
So that's one thing. I have noticed in the US, I've noticed some things. I've noticed a lot of young people. They say that the church, so I did a lot of research. They say that the church institution has shrunk about 30% in the last decade or so. Ever since COVID, a lot of people left the church and haven't come back to the institution of the church. Now, that looks bad. When people are like, oh, the church is dying, the church is dying. And I don't think the church is dying. I think the institutions are dying
Mhm.
because at the same time that it went down over 30%, church home groups, which are really hard to church home churches, which are really hard to track because no one's tracking numbers, no one's gotten membership to home churches or
Meeting
like
at coffee shops,
yeah, like
going on runs,
those things
talking
have
about
grown.
God.
The what they know of have grown over 30%.
Mhm.
So, okay, so the church, and then if you watch like YouTube channels and even TikTok and different things, there's tons of young people, older people on the streets healing people, which you've never seen in our time. Not this, not you don't have you have access now to seeing people delivered and seeing people healed on video like you've never seen before. Some are fake, but a lot are not. A lot is real. There's a lot of real stuff happening. That's how Tom Loud was found. We brought him in because he has a YouTube channel and he goes and prays for people every Thursday on the streets. So the church itself is being the church more than ever before, but it's less about the institution of church.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying we're against institution of church. We
No, not at
we
all.
think we should gather together. We haven't, otherwise we would have closed down a long time ago. Like if to be the church, that's easy. Let's just go be the church with a few people. But we think it's important to gather together in a bigger community. I mean, how that's going to look in the future, I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's not shrinking. God is doing something on the earth. And then if you pay attention to famous people, like I've said it several times, but Russell Brand has been saved. I heard a rumor that I saw a video that said Joe Rogan said he went to church with Elon Musk, which is crazy. They went to
Whoa.
church together. Doesn't mean they're believing Jesus yet or have a relationship with Jesus, but they're very curious. Okay. I don't know if you saw all the uproar about Brandon Lake has a song called "Raise a Hallelujah." Is that what it's
Mhm.
called? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
All I have is a Hallelujah. It's a fantastic song, and he wanted to partner with someone, and he partnered with Jelly Roll. And Jelly Roll's been says he has a relationship with Jesus, but has been rejected by the church.
Mhm.
So the way Brandon Lake had a relationship with Jelly Roll, all of a sudden is you're watching Jelly Roll relationship with Jesus thrive. And some of the religious people hate this. Like they don't like Brandon Lake befriending. Like they think that Brandon Lake's using Jelly Roll to get popular.
Oh.
But Brandon Lake's being the church to Jelly Roll, and Jelly Roll's being the church to people because of it. Like it's amazing. I watched Jelly Roll do a video saying, "I think maybe I'm going to be a pastor someday, a minister someday." And his wife's like, "Well, hold on, let me get my life in order before you do that." Like this is a big change. Like they're pretty extreme people.
I
So
feel like the church is like really moving into a season of like being evangelists. Like
A new
true,
relational
like a true
evangelism. Yeah,
evangelist, like how you're
exactly.
supposed to be, like
Exactly.
going out there and being with people, and it's not this sign holding, judging, weird way of doing it. And
Oh,
I'm better than you.
Joanna says it's called a hard fought hallelujah.
A hard fought
Yeah, that's
hallelujah.
right. It's a great
Oh,
song.
thanks,
Yeah.
Joanna.
But it's, yeah, it's real
Yeah,
evangelists. Like it's relational. It's
because
not just
it's coming out natural.
sin,
Yeah,
repent for your sins, and they're preaching the gospel on the corner, but they're actually condemning people. It's not that.
no,
There is some of that going on, more of that going on in a better way, actually. There's some of that too.
really?
It's pretty cool. Like I watched this guy preaching the gospel that Jesus came and he loves you, and this guy gets angry at him and he's like wanting to fight with him, and then the guy ends up saying, "Well, man, I think God sent you to me just to heckle me because God wants to know you're loved," and the guy ends up getting delivered.
Wow.
So it is still that with love in it. It's changing. It's changed.
Yeah.
My point is it's changing. That's what
It
you're
is,
saying.
yeah, it is changing. It's not the Sunday morning with the big lights and the show and smoke
It's
shows and
happening for you. It's happening to you
no,
all the
it's
time. You got to tell
becoming
people what's
natural.
happening to you. It's still happening to you.
Oh
People
my
keep telling
gosh.
you got to say these because this is actually inviting Jesus into what you're doing. This is exactly it.
Oh, I have this weird thing. Like, I don't know if it's my personality or what it is, but people come to me and like they confess everything.
Like in the dentist while you're waiting for your daughter, or like
It happens like almost every day. I don't like this is not a bragging thing because it's just so weird. I don't even know what to do with it. But like yes, I brought my daughter to the dentist to go. She was getting oral surgery done, and I was just waiting. I just sat down for a second, and this guy starts talking to me, and he basically confesses everything he's ever done in his life. And he just told me story after story, and it got to the point where I'm just sitting there and I'm listening to him, and we're talking about all these things, and he's like, and I have to tell you, he's like, he looks around the room. It's just me and him. There's a receptionist also, and he's like, I would got my gun ready. I was gonna go
oh,
kill this person. He goes, I
oh
was
yeah,
ready
yeah,
to,
kill someone else.
I was gonna go kill somebody. Like I was ready. I planned this out. I found this person's route out. I found out what time to be there. This person had done me such a bad injustice. My family has destroyed my family that I had it planned out. And I'm gonna go there at the park and meet him there. He's not gonna know I'm there. I'm gonna hide in this bush. I'm gonna jump out and just shoot him. And he said he was on his way. He was like 2 minutes away from the park that he was gonna meet him at, and he said, "I don't know if you believe in God or not, but I had this cousin, Cindy, call me, and she's like, I just got this strong feeling something's really wrong." And she's like, "What are you doing right now? Where are you going? What's happening?" And he's like, "I stopped right there in my car." And he's like, "That was like the biggest sign that God was talking to me. Don't go and kill this person." And I was like so relieved because I was going to say that, if you're going to tell me that you've killed somebody, I'm going to have to like notify somebody because I can't just like let you tell me you've murdered somebody. So, anyways, that's just my normal life. I have people that
Stuff
confess.
like that happens to Danny all the time. And so, you're what are you doing with that? Like you were just telling me when we were studying for this. This is what Jesus. What are you doing?
What, like, why am I here with this person right
Yeah,
now? What am I supposed to be you know, what are these confessions for? Is that for them to meet God in a different way, to be closer? Like it feels like I'm like a priest in like a one of those little windows they open up and the confessional thing.
it's so
But
funny.
I just realized like God has like kind of given me this space with people for them to express and decompress their stuff. And I don't take it personal. Like I don't carry it afterwards. I don't have this big
Mm.
feeling of like, oh no, I gotta pray for this person forever. I feel like that's like them repenting and
It's
able
for
to,
them.
it's for them and
Yeah.
they're able to move on after that. So
Every once in a while, you have one that God wants you to do a little more for, but
yeah,
most of the
totally.
time, it's like it's for
But
them. But you
sometimes
do ask Jesus every time.
I do,
That's the
yes. I
point.
always ask him in it. Like
What are you doing?
even during the conversations when this is happening, I'm like, God, why am I here right now? Why am I with this person? Is there something I'm supposed to say?
Yeah.
Is there something I'm supposed to do with this person? So, yeah. So if you feel like you're that weird person that gets the people that you're like, what in the world? Ask God, like, why am I here for this person right now? What's happening in this? Anyways, that was a weird story.
No, it's great. I think it's great. So the point is, I want you to see that. So I just remembered another person too. I guess Matt Rife. He's a comedian. That's kind of a player, kind of comedian. He just went to church for the first time. There's just so much happening in the church, and it's a real way. It's very authentic. It's very real. And I heard God, I prophesied over uh what's it called? It's Tina and James's place.
Gateway.
Gateway. Yeah, that's right. I prophesied over them that God was going to re-change evangelism through them,
Mm.
like it was going to be relational. And what's been happening with them is churches find out somebody will be on the streets and find someone that needs deliverance or needs something, and they go, "Well, we know the place to send them to," and they send them to Tina, and they go get delivered on a Thursday, on a Monday night, and then those people are becoming into relationship, but they don't send them to Sunday morning churches.
Hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
That is
So
interesting.
God's like already making that come true with what we prophesied over him. So I think God is changing and revamping evangelism, and part of that's because we're asking Jesus, what are you doing with people? And so I have a scripture for this morning that fits, and it's a very common scripture. You know this very well, but we're going to go there anyways. Let's go. Is this one? This is the good one. Okay, so this is in Luke 6, verse 46 through 49. It says, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? Everyone who comes to me and hears my words and acts on them, I will show you whom he is like. He is like a man building a house who dug deep and laid a foundation on the rock. And when the flood occurred and the torrent, like waves burst or a storm burst against that house and could not shake it because it had been well built. But when one who has heard and has not acted, accordingly is italics, so is not acted, is like a man who built a house on the ground without any foundation. And the storms, the torrent burst against it, and immediately they collapsed, and the ruin of the house was great. So I think I'm watching people struggle. I'm watching people wrestle with things, and they're trying to beat something in their life, maybe an addiction, maybe shame, maybe get a job. They're fighting for something, but we didn't really ask Jesus, what is he doing?
Hmm.
We're following what we think Jesus wants us to do instead of asking him, what are we doing? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's
That's so
very,
happy.
very
So
accurate.
I do this in marriage counseling all the time. Now, I don't love doing marriage counseling. Just because I'm talking about it doesn't mean I'm saying I'm opening the door for you to do marriage counseling. I don't have time right now, but I will say when I do marriage counseling, here's one of the number one questions I ask. Why did God give you to your spouse? And then why did God give your spouse to you? You have to ask Jesus, Jesus, why did you? So I'll tell you a story with Danny and I. When I first got married, Danny we had gone through a pretty hard thing with
When
the
you first
church.
got married, you married me.
I married you.
Just like to
Yes,
clarify.
I got married to Danny. Never been married to anybody else. Okay, good to clarify that. um, I remember before when we were dating, we had some youth leaders speak against Danny and I, and that really hurt you a lot. It
Yeah.
hurt me a lot. I confronted one of the leaders. I was proud of myself for being 17, 18, whatever it was, and confronting the leaders. Eventually, all those leaders that talked bad about us ended up divorced. There was like 5 leaders, and they're all divorced. But what that did to you was hard.
Mhm.
Danny was like really into the presence of God and all this stuff, and it really just hurt you a lot. You're like, I'm done with church people. I love God, but I'm done with church
Yeah.
people. And so I still, in my heart, loved the church. I loved worship, and I loved certain things about God that Danny didn't seem to like. And as about 3 years into marriage, I kept feeling like I'm failing as a husband, like I'm not doing. It's my fault, and am I like is this okay, God? Like even to the questions of like, did I make a mistake, God? I love Danny, but is this, am I going to be pulled away from you because
Mhm.
Danny doesn't love these things? Those are the thoughts that would hit my mind. I knew
Mhm.
that wasn't true. There was never an option, but it felt like that was the case. And then God stopped me one day and said, if I loved worship and I loved those things about me, who would I give to my daughter who I want to love those things?
Mhm.
And I said, well, maybe someone who loves those things. He goes, yes, stop trying to change Danny and just love those things about me. That's it. I just want you to love what you love and don't worry about Danny. I gave you to her. And then he asked me the second question. Now, why do you think I would give Danny to you? I'm like, I
We
don't
still don't
know.
know.
Get to love me? Like that's my question. That's what a lot of people say, to love me. And then I heard God really clear say two things. One, Danny thinks I have a sense of humor and you think I'm just serious, and she has fun with me and you do not have fun with me, and I want you to like that about me.
Mhm.
And then I also want to value truth. Danny is bold about speaking truth, and you're afraid to speak truth because you think people will leave you. And Danny loves those two things about me. I speak truth and I am fun. And I gave her to you to give those things to you because she loves those things about me.
Hmm.
Now, that helped me. It changed my relationship. I don't even know. You didn't know at the time. I never told you
No.
that happened. That was
I
like,
can feel it from your actions
yeah.
though. You have strong his feelings carry over. Like you
What?
know. I know.
How do you know that?
His face cannot lie, even his eyes. It's
Oh,
so funny.
a dominant question I ask people in any kind of relationship, friendship, marriage, even sons and fathers, mothers and daughters, what is Jesus doing with that person? What is Jesus giving through me? What is Jesus giving through them? These are questions that we need to ask.
Hmm.
And we do this as parents too.
Yeah.
We ask, like, God, what are you doing with London? We invite Jesus, and more like we're saying, God, Jesus, we are welcoming you to invite us into what you're doing. Because I don't want to do anything that he's not doing.
Yeah. And it's so easy as like a parent
Parent,
or a
especially.
friend where you see your kids doing something and you're like, "Oh my gosh, let me just fix that for you." Instead of just pausing and inviting God into this and saying, "Hey, what's happening here? Like what are you doing in their hearts? Like what's really going on?" Because something's coming to the surface.
Yeah,
But we see like, okay, let's pull the reins in. Let's find out what the roots are on our own without asking God. And it's usually those hard things, those hard topics that we think we know better than God, which is a really, really dangerous place to go
it's
when
true.
He loves our kids even more than we love them, and our friends, and our people,
It's true.
and our
It's when we
husbands.
think we know better that we're being
Yeah.
God, and He can't be God in our lives. The bracelet that's what would Jesus do? Um, that's kind of gets us in trouble a little bit. What happens is, like, if I was thinking of myself as a dad, uh, the question is, how do I be a good dad? How do I be a good dad? What would Jesus do? How would Jesus be a good dad? That is a trap.
Hmm.
It sounds great. It sounds amazing. How do I be a good husband? And that's what gets you in trouble. Instead of, it's not relational anymore. It's a
Yeah.
law now.
It's a
It's
rule.
a rule, and you're trying to live up to something you can never live up to.
Hmm.
So you have to go down to, all right, God gave me Danny specifically. It's not just about being a good husband. It's about literally being a husband to Danny would be going, what is Jesus doing with Danny? How
Hmm.
can I serve what you're doing with her and not be trying to be the perfect husband? Because I can't. I can't be the perfect husband.
Hmm.
When we did it with our kids, it changed everything. So one of our kids, God told us that He was teaching her to overcome. So from that point on, that's what Jesus was doing. And I kept asking every day still, but anytime she wanted to get out of anything, we couldn't say yes. We just say, no, you have to keep going. You have to keep doing it. Because what is Jesus doing? Overcoming. With the other kid, we would say yes. Because Jesus wasn't doing the same thing with her.
Yeah,
But with the other
exactly.
one, we knew, no, we can't. Jesus is doing this with her, so this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And it actually a weight came off my shoulders. I felt like, wow, okay, it's easier. Instead
Hmm.
of, oh, I gotta be a perfect dad so we don't mess her up, or a perfect mom so we don't mess her
Which is
up.
not
It's not
possible.
possible. It's a trap.
It is a trap.
What kind of parent would Jesus be? Even that is like, it's like a trap. No, the kind of parent Jesus would be, Father, what are you doing? What are you doing with this person? That's what He did. I only do what my Father's doing. That's building your house on the rock. And it's very practical. You can do this in any kind of relationship. Jesus, what are you doing with me at this workplace? Why did you send me here? What am I here to bring? What am I here to get from this place? Is there someone here you sent to me to get something?
Hmm.
Like, Jesus, what are you doing? Why are we here? It's bigger than just a job. It's always bigger than just a job. Friends, you have friendships. You say you do this with friends all the time. You have
Yeah.
people that want to get to know
Oh,
you. And
totally.
what do you ask? Like,
I am always like, well, let me just say, I was gonna backtrack a little bit. I was gonna say also if you have like relationships that are really hard and ones that you're kind of like you have an obligation to, like they might be like a relative or something, or an ex or something that have a connection with. Maybe you have a child together or something, and you just don't want to.
mm,
You see them and you're just like you're trying to fix them constantly. You're agitated by them. You don't want to be around them. You don't like them. Asking God what He's doing in them really changes because His perspective on that person is like night and day different than ours because of our own mindsets,
yeah,
how we've built that person up to be this bad person or something. But humans are people that just need love, and I feel like when you can let
yeah,
that guard down, it helps for sure.
mm, yeah,
But yeah, asking God what He's doing with that situation and that person. Like in my car, I'll be like, "God, why am I meeting with this person today? Like, what's happening with that?" Or why is this person in my life? Like, what are you doing with that person? It helps me
You do
know.
it daily.
I do it
You
like in
don't
my,
just do
I
it in a
do it when I,
generic way. You do it
no,
like when you're going to meet with them,
oh
then you do
yeah.
it. Like you do it that
I'll be in my
moment.
car and I'm like, okay, whoever I'm going to encounter today, like, let me just be like aware of what they need and ask
Yeah.
the questions you want me to ask them. So, and it's gonna be really simple. I feel like we over spiritualize this to a point of like you're meditating on this and trying to figure out like, oh God, help me love this
No,
person.
you just
Help me.
ask. If you don't hear anything, you don't hear
Yeah,
anything.
exactly. And there's
But
no shame in that. But
but
whatever your
we
first
usually
thought
just don't
is,
ask. We usually just assume
hmm,
we know what we're supposed to do already. Like,
yeah,
but it's actually relational.
it is exactly.
Jesus, what are you doing with this person?
Yeah.
Inviting Jesus into it. It's a partnership with God. It's just another way of saying all the stuff we've been saying this year.
Yeah. I always say, what are you doing with this person? And what do you want to do today? Like, what is on your agenda
Yeah.
today? Like, you have so much more going on than I do.
Yeah.
Oh. But yes, I think it's just important to be intentional about the people you're with and like what God's doing with them. And if you are overdoing it with people when people are wanting to meet with you all the time and you have too many people in your life, asking God, am I supposed to be with this person right now? Is this a season to be in relationship with this
Hmm.
person? Do I have enough
Because
to
sometimes it
offer?
changes. The season changes sometimes.
Yes, it totally
Like you,
can.
God might have said, I want you to be their friend. And then if you didn't ask again, he might have said, no, now I want you to let her go or
Mhm.
let him go.
Yeah,
Like so it's relational. It's not that,
it
it's
is.
not um,
Law.
comfortable. It's not law.
It's not a
It's
law.
not, and it's not easy in a sense. It's relational. It's just relational.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I don't know who's listening right now. I think we have 20 people on. We still have 20 people on. So comment on here. This makes sense. Do you have any questions? Um, have you had an example of this? Maybe you want to share a little bit. Or maybe this is exactly what God's trying to tell you right now with someone that you're dealing with something that you're working on. You can do this with parents as well. So, God, what are you doing with my parents? Even if, especially if your parents sick or something, or
Mhm.
you're like, okay, God, what are you doing with them? I want to serve what you're doing.
Yeah.
Another powerful question. I didn't write it, but I was going to when we were talking about this, preparing. Jesus, is there anything I'm doing that you're not doing,
Hmm.
that
That's
you're
a good
not doing
question.
with me? That's a
Yeah.
very powerful question. Jesus, is there anything you're doing that I'm not doing? It's both ways. So, is there something you're doing that I'm not doing with you, and is there something I'm doing that you're not really doing with me?
Hmm.
Those are great questions to help. It's relational. And Jesus is inviting us to do with him, and we need to invite Jesus to do with us. And sometimes he's not doing things that we're doing.
Yeah.
I've had him tell me, "Well, I never told you to do that." I'm like, "Oh," and it sounded great, like a good thing. It's a relief when he says that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it relieved it took something off my shoulders because it's something I put on myself that I was expected to do. And when I asked him that question, Jesus, is there anything I'm doing that you're not? And he said, Yeah, I never told you to do that. I'm like, Whoa,
Hmm.
I never even thought that.
And that's really good for people that take on things instantly. Some people are just yes people and then they become bogged down yes people because they have so many things they're saying yes to constantly. They don't know how to say no instead of just pausing and like I need just a few minutes to think about this and pray and ask God what he wants me to do with
Yeah.
this. So,
I think it's a lot harder for people to comment on YouTube.
it probably is. I'm sorry guys.
I wish we had the other thing up. Maybe we need another alternative to do live streams
Yeah.
so that we don't get stuck.
Cuz we love
Facebook
when you
just
guys
wouldn't let us.
chat and ask us
Yeah, we like the
questions.
interaction. At the beginning, everybody said hi, so that was good. Anyway, so now I guess we'll go to the activation. I have some questions. These are the questions you can write down. Um, and let's just do this. Oh, I do it without us on there. These are the activations. So Jesus, what are you doing with each child? So if you have children, you're asking, what are you doing with this person? What are you doing with this person? If you have a spouse or a significant other, Jesus, what are you doing with my spouse or my significant other? Or a friend, best friend. That's the third one. Jesus, what are you doing with my friend? What are you doing? It's fairly easy to.
The
Jordan says,
chat
okay,
box.
good.
I'll
Good.
wait for
Jordan's
you.
got it. Number four is Jesus, what are you doing with my parents? That's another one. So, Jesus, what are you doing with my parents? So, um, yeah, you just ask, Jesus, what are you doing with Jordan? You're asking, Jesus, what are you doing with Joe? And what are you giving Joe through me? And what are you giving um, through Joe to me and through me to Joe, both ways. And then it's back vice versa. It's a very powerful question for marriages because most people don't. I've had no one answer that question. No one knew the answer to that.
During marriage
All
counseling.
my marriage counselings that I've done, not a single person has known what they were there for. Not
Yeah.
once. because we never asked.
Hmm.
And it's going to change in seasons. It's not the same for the whole entire marriage. It changes in like the years. It changes.
Yeah.
So it might be generic through the whole life, but it's going to change even. Well, this year I want you to just support her in her healing. That's what I want to do. Or I've heard lots of things. It's been amazing, and it gives them a focused thing that Jesus is actually doing. Therefore, you're not doing it in your own strength.
It just narrows it down so much.
Yep.
Like it creates so much clarity, I feel like, with knowing why. And for me, that's really helpful.
Yep.
So,
Well, does anybody have any statements, questions? This makes sense? Let us know. While we're doing that, I guess I'm going to pray for you guys. How about that? Does that sound good? All right, Jesus, I just thank you for every person watching this, either now or later. I just ask right now that you would help them be able to hear your voice really, really clearly. That when they ask you and invite you into practical relationships and ways of doing things, that they would hear you clearly. There would be nothing in the way of them hearing your voice, and they would be able to have the courage and strength to follow what you're doing so that they actually start to see the fruit that you want to see in their life, that you want to bless them with favor and fruit and peace and joy and hope. So we just ask right now that they would hear you clearly in this season. Amen.
amen.
That's it.
All
That's
right,
all we
guys.
got. So if you guys are with each other, you can continue, maybe talk about this, maybe just do the exercise, sit down and write down, Jesus, what are you doing with these things, and see what he tells you. I'm very curious.
It's a powerful question. So
David said this feels like a great way to get clarity.
it really is.
It is.
It
It works.
really
It does
is.
work.
And it's so simple. Like
It's
I feel
very
like
simple.
we make things too hard lots of times where it's just so many steps and it's just like asking him and then it's like, oh, that's easy. He always gives me a simple answer and then it just makes it so clear. And I'm like, okay, I can do that.
Great jobs. It's relational. That's what Brian Powell
Hmm.
said. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Perfect. Makes so much sense knowing we partner with God. It seems obvious, but very relationship. I know it
Yeah,
does. It does feel obvious. We all say we're partnering,
totally.
and then, but when you actually ask him what he's doing, it makes like I'm like, oh, duh.
Because he answers back so shortly. Like I'll just be driving in my car. I'm like, "What are you doing with this person?" He's like, "Oh, I'm teaching them this, or I'm like loving
Yeah,
them this way." And I'm like, "Oh, okay,
I can do
cool."
that.
It's so simple.
Yeah,
So yeah,
very cool.
we appreciate you guys joining us this morning.
Yeah, look at our cameras moving.
Oh, oh, that's weird. I'm sorry. He hasn't been doing that the whole
No,
time.
the whole time. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a good, wonderful day in the sun. Do this exercise. Ask Jesus what he's doing, at least with one person,
Yeah.
and see what he tells you. Share it with somebody, and let's see what happens.
We'll see you guys
Yeah.
next Sunday in
See you
person.
next Sunday in person. And then, yeah, happy summer.
Bye,
All right.
guys.
Bye, guys.